So why do I not hate grizzly bears? Why do I not hate lions? Why do I not hate hyenas? Why do I not hate, I don't know, crocodiles? All of these creatures have the psychology whereby if they are hungry, they will kill and eat me. And they have no moral dilemma whatsoever. They will think that it's perfectly justified in the mind of a grizzly bear. It's perfectly justified to walk right up to me, wrestle me to the ground, kill me, and eat me. In the mind of a grizzly bear, that's totally justified. That grizzly bear doesn't walk away from my dead corpse and say, "Oh, but Jesus, I shouldn't have killed the Bandido. I shouldn't have killed him." And that grizzly bear doesn't go to the nearest fucking chapel or church and kneel down before the altar and repent for its sins. No, the grizzly bear doesn't do that. The grizzly bear feels like it's completely justified. It was hungry or pissed off at me, and it decided to kill and eat me. And it has no moral dilemma at all to deal with. Now its belly's full of the Bandido, and the Bandido's dead. So, I don't hate grizzly bears. I don't hate hyenas or any of these carnivorous creatures or omnivorous creatures that could kill and eat me. And you have to ask yourself, folks, why do I not hate these creatures? Because you would think, knowing consciously that these things, if they are given a chance, will potentially kill and eat me, you would think I would hate them. Yet I don't. Why? You must ask yourself, why? Well, let me tell you why. It all comes down, or could be summarized, in one word. There's one word that I could use to summarize why I don't hate grizzly bears, even though I know that they could kill and eat me. Do you know what that word is? Expectations. Let me repeat that. Expectations. That is the reason why I don't hate grizzly bears. The reason why I don't hate grizzly bears is because I know what a grizzly bear is. I know what it stands for. I know roughly what its agenda is in this life. And so I appropriately, essentially allocate my expectations to different humans and creatures on this planet. I will set expectations here for certain people, and I will set expectations for certain animals way down here. It depends who I'm dealing with. So throughout life, depending on what animal or human I'm dealing with, I will have varying expectations of all of these creatures that I'm interacting with. When I leave the house in the morning and the cat that I have adopted is at the front door crying for a cat stick, do I try to reason with that cat? Do I try to say, well, hold on, cat, you haven't done anything for me. I'm always feeding you, but you never do anything for me. You just come to the door, the front door, every morning, and you sit there expecting me to feed you, yet you give me nothing in return. Do you think I engage in that kind of a dialogue with my cat? Fuck no. Why do I not do that? Because I have very low expectations for my cat. It is a cat. It has cat psychology. It does not understand the English language. It thinks it's perfectly justified. It's perfectly justifiable behavior from the cat's perspective to sit at my front door and expect me to feed it, even though it gives me fuck all in return. That's cat psychology. And it's perfectly justifiable in the mind of that cat. So do you think I get pissed off at my cat? Do you think I get into an argument with my cat? No! And the reason why is because I have allocated to my cat appropriate expectations that the cat can live up to. There's no point in me putting the expectations here for my cat, expecting my cat to be able to engage in a thoughtful, critical analysis of its behavior. Holy fuck, folks, of course it can't do that. The cat doesn't have the psychological machinery to carry out that kind of a discussion. So what do? I move my expectations from here down to here. I give my cat expectations that it can live up to. Because you see, whenever I appropriately allocate expectations to my cat, it means I don't get pissed off. If I have unrealistic expectations of my cat, and my cat, day after day, constantly violates the expectations that I've set for it, that's going to piss me off continually. And so what do? Instead of just maintaining the same high expectations of my cat, I lower them. I lower the expectations of my cat to the point where my cat can live up to those very low expectations. It's the same with a grizzly bear. I allocate the appropriate amount of expectation to a grizzly bear. I know what a grizzly bear is. Its ambition in life is to fuck some other grizzly bear, to eat, and to sleep, and to monitor its territory and look after its cubs. Those are some of the broad objectives of a grizzly bear. Again, I can't communicate with a grizzly bear. It does not understand English, unfortunately. Also, grizzly bears have grizzly bear psychology. So there's no point in me setting expectations here for a grizzly bear, expecting that whenever I cross paths with a grizzly bear, it's going to be nice and accommodating to me. Yes, whenever I go out into Yellowstone National Park, yes, whenever I go out there and I cross paths with a grizzly bear, yes, we're going to have a very thought-provoking discussion, and I'm going to convince the bear not to eat me. That's where I'm going to place my expectations. I'm going to have a very in-depth conversation with the bear. Fuck me, folks. Of course that's not where I'm going to set my expectations. I am fully aware that bears might eat me. And so what do? I stay the fuck away from grizzly bears. I watch them on the television or on my phone. I don't go out into nature. I don't go out into their habitat. Why? Because I have allocated appropriate expectations to them. I know what they are. I know what they are capable of. I know what they stand for. I know what may potentially happen if I try to engage with a grizzly bear. If I don't allocate the appropriate expectations to the grizzly bear, then what might happen? I might think that I'm going to have a very thought-provoking discussion with this grizzly bear in Yellowstone National Park. And then all of a sudden, I'm pinned to the ground and it's gnawing on my hole. Now, I might then say, hold on, Mr. Bear. That wasn't part of the agreement. I had expectations for you that you were going to engage in a thoughtful conversation. We were going to talk this through, Mr. Bear. No, the bear continues to gnaw on my hole. And before I know it, it's eating me alive. And then sooner or later, the lights go out. So to make sure that I don't get fucked over by the grizzly bear, what do? I allocate appropriate expectations for a grizzly bear. I don't expect the grizzly bear to pause and reflect on his interaction with the Bandido that he's going to have. You know, I don't think the bear is thinking in that way. And I don't expect, the key word being expect, I don't expect the bear to think in that way because it has bear psychology. Why would I think the bear is going to behave any differently to any other bear? It isn't. And if I go around like an idiot thinking that, oh, well, the bear is going to have a discussion with me because we're both mammals, well, good luck with that discussion. You're probably going to end up dead or disabled by this grizzly bear. So, how do I avoid irritation at my cat in the morning? I avoid irritation at my cat in the morning by allocating appropriate expectations that that cat can live up to. Because if I lower the bar, if I lower the expectations for my cat, it means I don't get irritated because I'm not expecting it to be able to do something that it's not capable of. And so as a result, the cat isn't going to violate the expectations because I've allocated them at the appropriate level. It's the same with a grizzly bear. I'm under no illusions what a grizzly bear is. I know it's a big, dangerous mammal that can't speak English and has bear psychology. So I don't go into Yellowstone National Park thinking the grizzly bears are going to be my friend. I don't do that. I don't have that expectation that they are going to be my friend, that they are going to reason with me, that we're going to get into a conversation, that I'm going to be able to convince them not to kill me. No, I lower the expectations down here, and I accept the fact that they are a grizzly bear. They have grizzly bear psychology, and if I want to maintain the integrity of my tissue, my cellular tissue, if I don't want to incur tissue damage, then I am going to set the appropriate expectations, meaning I will keep my fucking distance from grizzly bears. I won't expect them to behave any differently to what their biology suggests. And so as a result, what ends up happening, folks? Do I get pissed off at my cat? No. Do I get pissed off at grizzly bears? No. Do I hate my cat? No. Even though my cat is a wee manipulator, it goes on the window every morning and whines in the window. And I give it its cat stick, it does fuck all for me. In fact, you know what it does sometimes? Not only do I feed my cat, I give it the odd cat stick here and there. Not only does it do that, but sometimes it sneaks into the back garden and it shits and pisses on its own doorstep. So not only does it not do anything for me, and not only do I feed it, but it literally shits on its doorstep. Now, why do I not get pissed off or resentful about my cat? Why do I not hate my cat? Because I have allocated to my cat appropriate expectations that it can live up to. I expect my cat to complain and manipulate and whine and look for food. I expect that my cat isn't going to do anything for me. I expect that my cat is going to try and shit in the backyard. Even though I will literally, when I see it getting ready to shit in the backyard, I will run out and scare it away. But let's say I'm not there. I am not under any illusions. I expect it to do cat things. And cat things involve shitting in flower beds. All right. So I have expectations that the cat can live up to. And that ensures that I don't get overly pissed off. It's the same with a grizzly bear. I give it expectations that it can live up to. I'm not under any illusion that it's anything other than a grizzly bear with grizzly bear psychology. So as a result, why am I saying all this? I'm saying all of this because I don't hate my cat. I don't hate grizzly bears. I don't hate crocodiles, hyenas, lions, tigers. I don't hate any of these creatures that could kill and eat me. And the reason why I don't hate them is because I have correctly placed expectations in the right way. I've allocated appropriate expectations to these animals. I have essentially given them expectations that they can live up to. I'm not setting unrealistic expectations for them. Because what happens when you set unrealistic expectations for someone and they fall short of your expectations? Yes, what is it that happens? You get pissed off. Because the person didn't live up to the expectations that you set for them. And so what should you do? If you're interacting with someone and you get feedback that your expectations for that person are too high, if you've got too high expectations for someone and they routinely fall short of those expectations, what should you do? I'll tell you what you should do. You should recalibrate You should go through a process of recalibration, meaning that you adjust the expectations from here to here. Don't have such high expectations, because if you keep the bar really high, think of it like high jumping at the Olympics or at the World Championships. If someone isn't capable of jumping over the high bar here, then you shouldn't have the high bar here. They can't jump over it. They're going to keep falling short of the high bar. You should move the high bar from here to here. You should move it to a location that they can actually jump up over the high bar. You shouldn't routinely be placing that little pole at a height that you know they can't get up over. They clearly don't have the ability to leap that high. And so all that's going to happen is you're going to continue to get pissed off because you're their trainer. Let's say you're their coach. If you as the coach continually set the bar too high and they keep falling short of the jump, well then you need to adjust the height of the bar, you idiot. You don't just keep the bar high and have your student become demoralized, and then you don't get irritated at your student because they can't jump at that height. No, what you do is you adjust the bar to a location where it's challenging, but they can make the jump. And then you work from there. So you can think of this, folks, in terms of the high jump, the bar that's set for the high jump. If you are dealing with a human and that human gives you feedback that they are routinely coming in underneath expectations that you've set for them. In other words, if you're dealing with a human and you've set the high bar here and they are routinely missing the jump, they can't make the jump, then you need to lower the bar so that they can make the jump. Meaning that you need to lower your expectations.